So, Peter, tell me about your story.
Sure. So growing up, I had this pride that I was Puerto Rican, but when I was 15, I took a bio course and they have you fill out the Punnett squares where you take traits from your mom and dad and try to like break it down. And I had nothing from my dad. So I'm like, what's going on here? He looks nothing like me. He's bald, he's got brown eyes, tan skin. I knew my parents did IVF. I asked my mom one day after the Punnett square, I'm like, oh, so they took dad's sperm and gave it to you? And that's kind of when they froze and they're like, oh shit, I think we gotta tell them now. Let's see. Ooh, wait, this is really fucking cool. So we went back home and they pulled out like a 30-page document with the donor's information in it. So he doesn't have his name, his location or anything. It's just the donor number, a few traits about him, kind of what his ambitions are, what he studied and what he does for work, but he's completely anonymous. So I found that out when I was 15.
Were you ever upset that your parents didn't tell you sooner?
I don't think so. I think when I was 15, I think that was the right time. I feel like they would have waited until I was 18 to be like, hey, here's the story, but my smart ass was like, something's not adding up because I don't look like my dad. But at first I thought I was adopted, and then when I did the Punnett square, I'm like, okay, let me investigate this. It wasn't until I was 19 where I thought about it a little bit more, and I'm like, oh, there's more to the story. So I took the donor number and put it into donor sibling registry, and it matches you with other half siblings that have the same donor number. And at the time it was like 16, and they added me to a Facebook group, and over time it's been like almost 10 years since I joined that Facebook group, and now it's at 60 half siblings all across the world. So we have people in New York, LA, and they're all super creative too, but it's pretty crazy.
You guys meet up?
Yeah, we have a group me, we have like group text, we follow each other on Instagram, and I think I've met like 13 half siblings at this point. So yeah, we just kind of have this group, I guess. It's like a little network.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you guys can relate to each other on a level on a sibling level, but also just on a whole nother level that most people don't understand.
I think it's different when you meet them for the first time because it feels like you already have a connection, even though you don't even know who they are. But there have been times where I meet a half sibling and there's an automatic connection, and I don't know if it feels like family yet or just friends, but I think the coolest part is just knowing there's so many of us and they're all super cool, they're all creative, and I think that's something that we all got from the donor, that he had a creative gene, and there are filmmakers, there's artists, there's people that I work in architecture, so we all have some sort of creative ability.
Well, how come the person who raised you, your father, how come he isn't your biological dad? Like, what's the story behind that?
So he had kids in a previous marriage, and he had a vasectomy when he was older. My parents had me later on in life. So after he had the vasectomy, he met my mom, and they were dating, got engaged, married, and they wanted to have kids. They could have either done adoption or IVF, where they look for a sperm donor and conceive that way. So they chose to do that. They got a bunch of applications that they looked through, and ultimately my mom said that she chose the application because she liked his handwriting.
Wow.
But he also had a lot of good qualifications.
So when you found out that your dad was a sperm donor, how did that affect your relationship with the man who raised you, your actual father?
It changed my perspective a little bit, but it made me appreciate my father even more because he has raised me all his life, and he's never treated me differently. It's always been, I'm his son, he's my father. And even though we don't have that biological connection, I think he's taught me so much about life and has made me the person that I am today. So I never had a negative view of him after finding out that my biological father is a donor.
Just gotta dial in this drawing here.
Yeah. How's it looking?
It was looking good.
Oh.
Then some damage happened.
Okay.
And now we're saving it.
Nice.
What was the hardest part about realizing your dad was a sperm donor?
I guess the realization that I probably won't meet him in my life unless I really make the effort. And I think in order to meet him, I would have to reach out to the cryobank, and I'm just not sure if he is willing to do that. So that's a little bit hard. I would like to meet him one day, but also I'm not like, that's not my end goal. I think with this whole situation, my goal is to meet as many half-siblings as possible and just build that friendship and that connection and learn more about myself during that process too. So,
what have you learned about yourself so far within that process? You have a great face for drawing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. What have I learned in that process about myself?
Yeah.
I think I've learned that the world is smaller than we think it is. And one situation that happened is I was at the gym and all of a sudden this person comes up to me and they're like, "Hey, are you from Donor, the Facebook group?" And I was like, "Yeah, who are you?" And it was my half sibling.
Wow.
And we just connected that way. And I feel like I would have never approached someone because I would be like, "Oh, there's no way that's my half sibling." But she saw me and she's like, "You're the one." And now we're like best friends and I see her all the time. I took photos for her proposal to her girlfriend, and I think that's the part that I learned, that the world is so small and connected.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't want to accidentally date a half sibling.
No.
I bet that's really common actually, because people are attracted to people who look like them, in a sense.
Maybe, but I'm
not.
Yeah.
I'm just
knock on wood, that never happens.
Sorry.
No, that question comes
ripping.
up.
Really? Have you ever reached out to your biological father, or can you?
So he's anonymous. He chose to remain that way, and I think we're all respecting it because he has his own life, we have our lives, and for 60 half-siblings to contact him, that would be crazy.
If you could say anything to him, what would you say?
Oof. Thanks for creating me, I guess. I think the way that I see the donor now is more so...
So you just call him the donor?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't call him my father. Like, he has a biological connection to me, but I don't know the man. All I could see him as is the person that, like, helped create life for me. But there's no relationship. It's all just knowing that I have traits from him. I don't know if he sees some sort of connection, and if he met us, if he would see us as like his children. That's something to ask him, but I have no clue what he'd say. So I wonder if I don't think he regrets the decision, but I wonder what he thinks looking back. So
yeah,
I'll never know.
Would you ever donate sperm?
No. No. Ooh, wait, this is really fucking cool. I love it. Wait.
Thank you, bro.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
Thanks, bro.
One thing that I've learned from this whole situation is that blood doesn't determine who your family is. It's more so who supports you through your life and who's going to be there for you through your highs and lows. And